Hello, I am Reverend Irene Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to Generationally Speaking. Here at the table, we come and we discuss life issues, no matter what they might be. As we sit at the table with each generation, we all learn, we all grow, we all are inspired.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Generationally Speaking.
I love the fact that you talk about time management, because time management is so critical. Whether you have children or not, time management is important. How much time you're going to allot for different things that you have to get accomplished in your life, and to hear you talk about how critical that was for you, and that's so much a part of who you are, and it has worked well for you and actually accelerated you. So you started off as a regular employee there, and now you are a
Yes. So right now, and it's so funny because they call me the senior historical knowledge employee. Like, what? What? So throughout my career, I started as a GS2.
wow.
And I climbed to a GS15 very quickly. I stayed at a GS14 maybe a year and a half. Everything else, I got my promotion every year. And it was so, I don't want to say effortlessly, because that's not it at all. But my work ethics, I've always loved every job that I had. So going above and beyond was nothing for me. So at one point in time, I used to catch public transportation. So the subway, I would catch the subway, and I worked all the way out Rockville, Maryland, which was like an hour commute each way. I would take large manuals home with me, the HR manuals, and instead of reading books, I would read the manuals. And so that helped me along the way. And I always share about people when people say they don't pay me enough to do that. Like, are you crazy? Like, the opportunity is rewarding and valuable enough. People often miss that step. And for me, it was like, I can figure out all of these components because all of it works together if I understand the manual. So I started off at the table, the big boardroom table, as a GS4. But no, I wasn't one of the board members or anything like that. I was assigned to take notes. And my supervisor would look at me, because whenever a higher level employee would say something incorrectly, my facial expression wouldn't hide. I would be like, what? Like, that is not right. That is not right. So then after a while, my supervisor didn't want to keep looking to try and see me on the back row. And he told me to come to the table and sit beside him. So I was in the boardroom with senior executives way before. So that gave me my training of what to do, how to operate, and also what to expect. So yeah, it wasn't easy, because I know it was no one but God using me as an example to tell people of what's possible, right? And I was just being me, doing me, little nerdy, like reading, like putting things together, me. And God just made it happen. God just made it happen.
You know what you said a lot, but one of the things that you said was your voice, finding your voice. And I heard an award ceremony just the other day when the lady said, I know my voice and I know where it belongs. And I thought that was just powerful. And what you share with us is that knowing your voice and taking advantage of opportunity, it all works together for your good. Instead of saying they don't pay me enough, take another attitude about it. Take another thought about it. See it from another perspective. And here you are, starting off at the GS4, and then God progressing you, up to the 15 and beyond. And so, we're just, most people would be like, okay, well, I've arrived. That's good. I'm good. But can I tell you all, This young lady shook the Wednesday night Bible study class as we were sitting there talking about our passions and our dreams and the things that we want to become, but what's holding us back. And man, there are so many things that hold us back, but the major thing that holds us back is me, myself, and I. And she spoke up after everyone had gone around the room and talked about, I long ago, I had a passion to open up a dance studio. Long ago, I thought about writing a book. Long ago, I thought about doing a cooking class, and they didn't do any of those things. But this young lady, praise be to God, she said to us, all you have to do is decide to just do it. And just a profound statement, so simple. And all she wanted us to do is just do it. So LuDrean, she upset our Wednesday night Bible study. We were all sitting there just as cool and comfortable talking about our passions, our dreams, and what keeps us from moving forward, what keeps pushing us back. And we decided at the end of the conversation, it was me, myself, and I, but people who were older were talking about passions that they had, and it seemed like they had sort of walked away from it, thinking that it would never happen. There were others who said, well, I want to do this, but maybe in 2 or 3 years, I got some other things I want to get done. And then there were others like, yeah, I thought about it, but that was about it, and she spoke up after hearing all of us talk about our dreams, our passions, and what was keeping us. And she said, well, all you have to do is just do it. And we all looked at her like, wow, profound, simple, just do it. And if you look behind her, you see it, do it. And that's what she said to us, do it. So tell us about this young lady who was already successful, who already had an excellent career path, but yet that entrepreneurial spirit, those seeds that I talked about, those seeds of greatness was still there. And now these seeds of greatness are coming out in another way. So how did you get this entrepreneurial spirit of you? And when did you find time for it?
So it was very unique. Nothing happens normal with me, right? So I was actually helping my friend Katrina Bullock to start her business. We would meet and have lunch dates, dinner dates. She would always be late, right? She would be late. So in my notebook, I started from the back of the notebook, working backwards because the front was for her. I would work backwards, and I just started writing down business ideas, business goals. And this was in 2015. And at that time, I said in 7 years, which is 2022, I was going to start a business because I was basing it off of some things I wanted to do in my career. And at this point, I will be ready to do so. So with that, my good friend Katrina, all counted all joy, right? She used to be late, and instead of starting to eat, I would just write down again from the backwards to the front. By the time I realized it, my information started really building up. So for Katrina, we had scheduled her launch. We had worked with different people, and I'm working and supporting her. I don't have a business at that time. We got the speakers all lined up and everything. And I mean, paid speakers. I'm using all of my little bit of favors that I have. And so Katrina's pastor was not available to do the opening prayer and pray over her business. So she said, no, I'm not doing this. I'm like, it's 3 weeks away. What do you mean? She was like, if my pastor cannot do it, whatever money I lose or whatever, it was very critical for her to do that. And I was like, we done use my favorite with Allison Seymour from used to be Fox 25. Yes. So she's my friend. And I had used my favor to help Katrina. She was going to be the keynote speaker. I was like, oh no, there will be a launch. There will be a launch. So I kid you not, in 3 weeks, I took all my information, put everything together, came up with the logo, worked with someone on the logo, worked with someone on marketing materials, figured out how to create my own website, did my pricing and everything. Scheduled work was an event plan where she wasn't an official event planner, but she planned all the events. So I said, look, you are going to do this. This is what you do. So tell me how much it costs. Tell me what you need me to do. And it all came together. And within 3 weeks, I launched my business. Do it. 3 weeks. I hadn't planned to do that until 7 years. 7 years. But with everything that was going, and Katrina was so sure that she wasn't going to do that. And then, so at that time, I was fairly new to Mount Eden, new in meaning that I just came in worship. I didn't connect with anyone. But Reverend Rice, like I didn't know her, but it was like her prayers that got me through several things from them altar calls. And I had emailed her. She didn't respond back. So I was like, oh man, I'm about to go to my second person, but I had all of my first priorities, all the things that I needed to do. And one day I pulled up on her after service and I was like, hi, I know you don't know me, but I sent you a message and blah, 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 blah. And she said, yes. So everything was falling into line. My friend who is not an event planner, but an event planner. Oh, everything was just so beautiful. I mean, when I tell you beautiful, I couldn't even believe how everything turned out. Allison Seymour was the keynote speaker, and I mean, it worked well. So again, that wasn't me. That wasn't my plan. That wasn't the things that I wrote down, but how everything fell in place. It was like, oh, something's going to happen on this day. So it put me in high gear and it made me just go. So I stayed up nights, right? I didn't take off from work. I stayed up nights, but everything had already been laid out over like the time. Katrina and I may have been meeting for a full year or something, but the last couple months had really, really gotten deep and she was getting later and later. So my information got more in depth. And at the end of it, I had a full-blown business plan. So it wasn't too much more that I had to do to make it fulfill. And in terms of the nonprofit component, the person who I work with was like, wow, I've never seen a nonprofit approved so fast. So I know it was God ordained. And even the title of it, Do It, Delivering on Ideas and Thoughts. I wanted to be a small word because I'm very particular about vision. I wanted to be a small word, but also to have a longer defined definition. So I started from Do It. And my daughter and I was like, all right, what do we want the acronym to be? So that's how we started in the gears, meaning the connection that I don't want to do the work for you. I want to guide and mentor you. Those are your ideas. They're not mine, but I just want you to know that you can bring them to fruition.
I love that, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And I love the business itself. A lot of times when we think that we have to start a business, we always think we have to have a product, a physical product that we sell. But your product is physical in one sense, but at the same time, it is a product that you have to sit with, and I have to sit with you, and we got to sit together to help you to move forward. And to hear how God just blessed you with this idea. And so with those notes that you were taking for somebody else were notes that you were going to need to share in your business. So now you've done the kickoff, and okay, and you have this first show. And do you remember that first show and your nervousness and what you went through?
The nervousness came about because the time, right? And not cocky, but so confident that God, this you, so just tell me what to do. Like how did we get here? So it was really that confident thing of God, just lead me. You have done everything else. I can step out the way. The nervousness came about was the timing. So on that day, my then husband had gotten baptized and we woke up late. So the first service, we missed the first service. The goal was to go to first service, get baptized, and then I can go get. And I was like, oh no. he got to get baptized. So whatever happens, it's going down, right? He's going down in the water and it's going down. So with that, it made the time crunch a little bit different. So that ran into something. And so for that was the nervousness that came about, but everybody like pitched in and helped out from the beginning. So it wasn't one of those things where I tried to do everything on my own. I did my lane and I knew, my parts that I needed to do. But I had so many other people, event planners and other people who were there to line up. So the nervousness was only like, it just came to be like, girl, like you were born for this. Like you were born to do this. And that's how everything just rolled out. So it wasn't crazy enough. It wasn't an element of nervousness other than like timeliness, like being on time, making sure that everyone's set up.
I can hear my audience asking, what happened? What happened to the young lady? Did she ever kick her business off?
She absolutely did. So my business kicked off in October and hers followed up the next month in November. And she had a launch. She had a large launch. And actually she had hers at some space, 2 spaces at, I think it's called US Air Arena. I don't know, the place in Upper Marlboro where the horses is. They had 2 joining rooms. So so it definitely kicked off. And she had actually her keynote speaker is I don't remember what shows, but Brashawn Shaw. She is on one of those reality shows. She's been on OWN Network and some other things. So when I tell you the people that we have come into contact with has just been an amazing blessing.
Wow. So what would you say to entrepreneurs who are just getting started, how to move from a thought to to implementing your business, starting that first step?
So it's funny that you asked that, because that makes me think of me sitting in the sanctuary when that class went on, and everybody, and I'm truly an introvert. People find that hard to believe. I have to be like in a setting where I don't know anyone and we're like in a classroom. It's going to take a minute. Like I didn't immediately just jump up. I waited till because you were like, everybody's going to say something. So I'm going to go around the room. So that's how it ended up happening. But everyone in their room, like Reverend Smith, you can't just imagine me and being like your dream. You can fulfill your dream. And everyone's talking about, oh, I can't. I wanted to, but I can't. I was in there cringing in my seat. Like, my goodness, like, oh my God, like, yes, you can. Like, yes, you can. So that's the same way I feel when I come into contact. So now a lot of them are clients, but also any encounter, I'm very open now. I used to be very much in my circle, but now I'm open to talking to various people that I come across, because I know that they're all for a reason. I come across so many people. A lot of them end up becoming my clients, but a lot of them don't. So you have to understand, I'm not in it for the money, but when it gets to a certain point, it's, that's a service that I provide, right? But openly conversation, I will have 2 people. So anyone who's looking to start, whether it's a business, write a book, or anything that you have any desire, any dream, like, it's going to sound crazy and simple, but do it. Do it is my simple action. We have time. Everybody always like, I don't have time to do this and that. If you start from 30 minutes a week, 30 minutes a day, however you choose to do it, you can carve out that time. And if it's something that you really enjoy doing, it's not going to be like work. And we have issues with encouraging ourselves, right? And we have issues with giving ourselves a pat on the back. My back hurt. Like, I'm trying to tell you. And the encouragement, I have encouragement stickers on my wall. And I think that's from a conference like 7 years old, 7 years. They're sticky notes, but they have not fallen off my wall in the bathroom. And I said, until they fall, I will keep them up there. And I was going to replace them and update them. I was like, no, I'm keeping those. Encourage yourself. You know that song, I can't sing it for you because that ain't my talent. That's my thing. Encourage yourself, right? Encourage yourself, because what happens is once you accomplish something, it can be a very little thing. It inspires you to go to the next thing, and it makes you believe that you can fulfill this. So the thing is to start somewhere. The mistake that people make is they talk, and won't even begin. They make excuses of why. So when I have like my consults with new clients or prospective clients or whomever, I always, every time they tell me, I'll say like, what's holding you back? What are the hurdles? And every time they say something, 9 times out of 10, I'm like, nope, because here's what you can do. Here's what you can do. People that have children, I give them my example of figuring out a time that works when your children are asleep. Either you stay up an hour after they have already gone to bed, or you wake up an hour early, or however the mixture. There is nothing, and I mean that sincerely, there's nothing that we cannot do. So it is being focused around it and get serious about it and be intentional about those things that you really want to do and break them off in chunks. Because when you try to address them as a whole, it's like a mountain, right? But when you break them down and break them up as a little thing, it's like a little pebble that you're kicking that you have control over. You don't have control over the mountain, but you have control over the pebble. So keep kicking all of those pebbles, and you kick them into like a little pile, and your mountain will be behind you, right?
I love that. I love that. That is a great analogy. Tell us, my audience, about your radio show that comes on weekly.
Everything is do it. Let's do it talk show. So on Let's Do It talk show, primarily tagline is we have a show that help turn dreamers into doers. And we do it from the aspect of faith. So we talk about faith, have various people come on, talk about finances. I have a set of gurus who talk about credit repair, investments, and your daily budgeting of how to get through. We talk about family, different dynamics of family, different things that people go through. And then we talk about the future. So faith, finances, family, and future. And it was created for entrepreneurs very uniquely, but we kind of figured like entrepreneurs deal with a whole bunch of different things, right? So that's how we came up with the different compartments of talking about these various things. So it's a joy of having different guests to allow them a platform to express what they're doing, help them to promote their projects, their books, whether it's a book takeover where I'm interviewing authors, or rather it's someone who, like right now, I have been interviewing people who have grown up in foster care.
Wow.
One went through craziness. I mean, where he just didn't care at one point, but he's studying to be a pilot now.
Wow.
The other one just went through so much that he went to drugs, selling drugs, and was like, although it gave him the finances, it didn't give him the desire that he need. And now he has turned his life over to God and just watching his way. So many others, all of these different things. So I've been spending that uniqueness, and then we do the grief and healing from Thanksgiving to December, just helping people who are going through. It's not only grieving the loss of a loved one, but of things, of people, other people, and just so much that goes on. But try to offer a space to bring someone some type of support to help them manage through.
And I like the fact you talked about grief and sorrow, and so I move you now to the transition of your sister, and then following her transition, your mom. And so how did that change you?
Like, that is still hard for me to really find any type of words to convey what I experienced because it was truly in experience. So with the passing of my mother, and you know this now, I can laugh about it, but I was like, Reverend Smith John killed my mother. So you know, when I told you about my dream, I had you as a guest on my show, and before we went on air, my mom was alive, and I said, I had a dream. I was talking to you about my dreams. I was like, I dream things and they come true, they happen. And you were like, no. And I told you, I said, I had a dream that my mom passed away, and I started describing. I was like, it was so real. And you said, baby, like, those aren't dreams, those are visions. Then it was time to go on the show, like, hey, it's your girl. But I was thinking, like, what did she just say to me? Right. So, you know, and that was like, that was 16 days before my mom passed away. So the thing with my mom's passing, right, is I know that God has truly like comforted me. He's comforted me. Like, everybody strive or look for that thing where that song changed will make a difference for them, right? It was me feeling and experiencing God's comfort through this whole entire situation that really, really, really impacted my life. And in a way, I still find it hard to explain what it was. So with my mom, that day, it was my turn to go over and care and do whatever was necessary for my mom, shop or what have you. And I often think about, what if I would have found her? That would have been, it would have been a different situation for me. But nonetheless, the way everything happened, and I can start from the point of my mom, but it really doesn't start there, Reverend Smith. It starts from months, and even I can really account to like a year before that, where God was just shaking me and pruning me and preparing me for this. We had so many family members in our family to pass away. That November 2019, 6 relatives passed away in 1 month. 2 were extremely close. One was my first cousin, and then the other was my mother's brother. So with that was hard for me. And I have returned to grief counseling at Mount Eden. I haven't been going before, but mind you, I have experienced so much death in my life. From the 3rd grade, someone in my 3rd grade class had a heart attack and died. My uncles and all, it just was so much death. Living in Southeast, like, one year, 1988, it was like 337 people who passed away, who got killed and murdered. I knew half of them. I mean, it was just like that type of thing. So moving up to my mom, all the anxiety, my best friend passing away when I was in my 20s, moving away from that, my mom was the one that always comforted me. Every funeral or what happened, my mom was right there by my side, and her hug and her comfort would be that thing to make me know that it's okay. But I will always cry profusely. I had anxiety, would be up all night long. And in November, I had to stay off work for a month because it was